Welcome, fight fans, to the Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast.
Your Fight Talk Authority.
Not to mention the most entertaining and talked about podcast with your kick-ass host, Richard Ortiz.
You mad? Come at me, bro.
And his loyal kick-ass co-host, Senor Cole Escovedo.
Streaming live and worldwide.
Coming to you all the way live from a little place somewhere in Cali. The Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast.
Fresno, California. We're live here in Mad Production Studios here in Fresno, California. As you can say, we are in the bubble. Myself and co-host, UFC veteran himself, Cole Escovedo. What's happening, Cole?
Not much. Knee's feeling better. I saw the picture the other day.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Putting
Actually,
full weight on
yeah,
it
yeah. There's no more crutch.
Yeah, I didn't see the stick around anywhere.
No,
so.
he told me to, put that in the closet.
Did he tell you or did you tell you?
No, he said put it in the closet.
All right.
Yeah, he said leave it in the closet, man.
All right.
He said pull it
So
out.
it's an
Pull it out September
odd
9th.
term.
Pull it out September 9th. That's when we get the right knee done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that you're not going to need it again till then. You feel strong and everything.
Yeah, I feel strong, and also thanks to Dr. Batista, too, taking care of me, with some ejections that are just helping me, with the recovery.
Nice.
Yeah, good thing I haven't got a peanut cup or anything right now. So we're all good, man. Making it happen. No, we're just playing around. But it's good.
C-Sax, come here.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if we had to pee in a cup for a studio job, no DJ would have a job.
No, there
no
should
DJ.
be a
no DJ. No DJ would have a job.
You pee in a cup and foam is just freaking
just looking like a fucked up
like
tap keg.
volcano, it just eases through, man. It just eases through or erupts. Hey, we got a great show for you today, man. I mean, we got a guest join us in about 10 minutes. Cutman for Manny Pacquiao, Wildcard Gym, and that's Mike Rodriguez, who's also a homicide detective. And I got some great questions for him. Yeah, he's going to join us here in the show. He's going to be in the bubble this weekend in Tulsa,
for the
Oklahoma.
15th?
Yes, yes. And then later on in the show, we got with us trainer. We have Rick Ramos. He has a big fight coming up. His fighter, Jessica McCaskill, is going to be battling the champion to unify all the bouts. I mean, I'm going to say this one time and one time. Well, there's 6 bouts, man. We got the WBC, IBO, WBO, IBF, WBA, In the Ring magazine female bouts at stake. And she's taking on the champion, Cecilia Burkhus, who hasn't lost in 6 years, man. So she's been the reigning undisputed champion for 6 years now.
Now, how active has she been in that 6 years?
Oh, as active as she can be.
Fighting at least once to twice a year. Yes, I know boxers
exactly.
I know boxers aren't fighting every 3 months like MMA guys. It's just the turnaround is a lot quicker. So
exactly.
So I can understand that.
So she'll be fighting her this Saturday, and it'll be live on DAZN.
Yeah, I was going to say, so no audience, live on DAZN. Is that going to be subscription for the DAZN, right?
Yeah, if you got DAZN, you're in. And also, I believe, re-announcing, I believe it's going to be Jeremiah Gallegos. Yeah.
Now, if
he has that golden voice. He's actually signed with Golden Boy.
If she beats, McCaskill?
Yes.
Beats Burkhus.
She gets all the belts.
She gets all the belts.
All
now,
the belts.
What happens if...
She's a 2-time champion as well.
So what happens if the reverse? If Burkhus beats her, does she get...
She just defends against somebody very tough.
Okay, so she doesn't get the other chick's belt? She'd have to fight her in those different...
No, because Jessica's moving up in weight. See, this is going to take place in welterweight. It's going to be 10 rounds in the welterweight division. And Jessica usually fights at the super lightweight. So that's just a couple pounds below her.
See, this is where a lot of people have had complaints in the past. Guys going up in weight class, losing, and the people go, okay, well then who's the real champion at that weight class?
Well, the only reason why Jessica's bouts will be at stake, the WBC and WBA super lightweight bouts, is of Burkhus drops down to her division. Okay. But see, Jessica wants to move up, and she wants she wants to walk away with every single bout.
And beating Burkhus gives her those belts.
Yes.
Okay, so one and done kind of thing.
Yes, doing that sets her up for the mega payday, the mega fight with. My gosh, T-Rex, man, and she's just awesome. She's right.
Did you just fucking say T-Rex?
Yeah. That's what they call her, man.
She's just short and mean as fuck, or what?
Bro, I'm about to get to her name right now. She's undefeated. She's just walking through the female division, man. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting her in Las Vegas, and I mean, she's awesome, man. I mean, sky's the limit. A lot of people even brought her up with Layla Ali. I mean, they were trying to make that dream fight take place.
She's at the same weight class as Burkhus or as McCaskill?
Well, couple.
Or does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean,
They're
they'll move up. The fight will be made.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so now, if she unifies all those belts with Burkus, what does T-Rex have right now that makes it an even bigger payday?
She's undisputed too. She's undisputed too.
Just in a different weight class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the weight classes are close enough
Yeah.
that they can go, look, we can just make this match happen because you guys are pretty much in the same weight class. Just a difference. It's a technicality difference, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody since day one has wanted to fight Clarissa Shields ever since the Olympics. She's an Olympian, and all eyes have been on her, and she's lived up to all the expectations. But she's just been dominating people with just her roughhousing, her power, intimidation, and she's doing everything asked of her to perform. Once she's in the ring, she takes care of business, man.
What do you think she's doing different than the other females in the weight classes?
Just that tenacity. Certain things. I would say she's. If you wanted to compare her to somebody, it'd be Mike Tyson.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Aggressive, relentless,
Yes.
doesn't seem to get tired, just keeps coming at you crisp.
Wins a lot of fights at the weigh-ins. Wins a lot of fights at the
stare
once they're
down,
signed, exactly.
at the touch gloves,
Yeah.
shit like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's very
Powerful.
a lot of command presence.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like she makes sure she's there.
She is the woman to beat in the women's division. She is the face of boxing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, she is.
And how many fights has she had over a span?
I want to say she has 14, 16 around there.
Over what, like a year, 2 years?
3 years.
Okay, I was gonna say about 3 years. That's not very long.
No, well, maybe
to
4
amass
years.
that
Maybe
much,
4
right?
years. Maybe 4 years.
That's still, dude. You're still doing like 4 to
Yeah,
4 to
but
5
see,
fights a year.
in the female division, you don't wait for them to get to, okay, we're 25-0, we're 26-0. They start fighting, for the shots.
I was going to say, yeah, the pressure's got to be a little more on as
know,
far as your shelf life of marketability.
Leon Spinks fought for the bout after 12-0, 12 professional fights, fought Muhammad Ali, shocked the world. So,
do you think that's a blueprint, or do you think that's just case to case by how the fighter is? Because the fighter may be like, yeah, he's 12-0, but let's not push him, let's not fast track it. You know what I mean?
No, I mean nowadays, you're 12-0. If you're ready, you're getting a title shot. That's. There's a lot that goes in that 12-0. Your background as an amateur and how well you're running through the competition. Because a lot of times you're just natural and you're making huge steps. Coming from the amateurs to the pros. Now you're growing. You're no longer a small fish in a small aquarium. You're growing. You're with the big boys. And when all lights are on, a lot of people, they grow and they expand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that fight's coming this Saturday. And also on the card, making his pro debut, is Mark Castro from Fresno, California.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Finally.
Who's he
out of Fresno.
Yeah, but is it there Almonds or who's he under here in
town?
Oh,
no. He's signed.
He's from Fresno.
He's from Fresno. As if to say, okay, the Olympics were coming up. He was having some weight concerns, some health concerns, and that helped him, along with a nice signing bonus from Eddie Hearn, and said, our screen kind of went blank, and said, you know what, I'm going pro now. Signed with Eddie Hearn, didn't sign with any of the other. I thought he would either, everybody was interested in Top. I know Top Rank was. I know PBC was. I know Golden Boy was. All the main heads out there. He signed with Eddie Hearn down to the UK, man.
So what do you think that decision boiled down to? Them, his manager,
money, and
because they all have money. Golden Boy, TR, they've all got money.
No, let me tell you, money and opportunity.
Okay. So you're Golden Boy, or you're whoever.
Nobody wants. Okay. Nobody. I don't want to be second to Ryan Garcia and Canelo. Okay. I don't want to be second to Top Rank has their fighters. PVC got a stack of their fighters.
But what they want to make?
He wants to make a name for himself.
Are they at the same weight class? Canelo.
No. Mark's at I believe 118's 122.
Okay. So why not take the approach of they want to make him the next Canelo at that weight class?
I know, talking to his dad, and I talked to his dad briefly, didn't get into numbers or contracts, but he said, Richard, this was the best move for us.
More opportunities in the long run.
And that's after having a meeting, a sit down with Golden Boy, a sit down with Top Rank, and a sit down with PVC.
See, at the end of the day, that sounds like they sat down and they go, look, we'll match whatever TR is offering you. TR is saying we'll match whatever Golden Boy. As far as pay, purse expectations, right?
Actually, our guest is calling right now. Let me bring him on right now. Hey, Mike, how we doing?
Good, man. What's up?
Hey, how's everything going? We were just having a talk right now about the fights this Saturday, and also Mark Castro being on the card from Fresno, California.
Yeah, it looks like I think I'm going to work with him.
Oh, so you're going to be the cut man?
I think so.
All right. Hey, well, first of all, welcome to the show. And Cole's finishing his sentence because we were talking about how what got Mark to sign with Eddie Hearn, and that's after a sit down with Golden Boy, Top Rank, and PBC. And I was quoting his dad that when I spoke to him, he said that was just the best fit for us.
Okay, are we on yet or no?
Yeah, yes, we're on right now, my man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on the show.
What happened, man? I've been on 3 times. I don't get that big introduction no more. I'm like stale news now.
Hey, well, I just wanted to finish the sentence right now, man. I'm about to give you that intro right now.
That's all good, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have with us the one, the only, the math, the myth, the legend, the Cutman, the homicide detective, who takes care of everything and stops the bleeding both in the ring and outside of the ring, and he will solve every mystery not even Scooby-Doo can solve. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Rodriguez, welcome to the Fighter's Voice, my man.
Hey, that's better, man, because if my mom's listening, she's going to be happy because she's going to text me afterwards and be like, what happened? How come they don't even introduce you? And you know, you met my sister, so she's going to be doing the same thing. She's going to be like, what's up with Richard over there?
Actually, we tried something a little different today, man. And I just said, you know what, I'll have him call at 6:10 so we can, kind of iron everything out, man. But that big intro was coming. Actually, you were a minute early. You called at 6:09. But it's okay. Hey, you caught us on our heels. That's okay.
I'm a former military guy, and to me, if you're
on time,
you're late. You know, so you always got to be there early.
No, what exactly? It says to be on time. Okay, to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. To be late is unacceptable.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, on that, okay. So real quick before we finish that sentence, to that concept of early bird gets the worm.
Right.
Always be early or you're late. If you're always early, you're never late. It just won't happen. So, but what about the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese? I would say patience.
Patience too on the right decision, and maybe that was patience too on what had something to do with Mr. Castro and his son signing with Eddie Hearn. Maybe it was patience.
So to finish that sentence, sorry to cut you off there, amigo, but just to finish that sentence.
Yeah. No, finish it up. I want to hear what you
So I think they sat down and said, PBR, TR, Golden Boy, they're all going to say, look, we've all got money. We can offer you, how much do you think you want at that one? Okay, that's a reasonable price. We can go up from there. It's hey, we've got so-and-so as an official organization exclusive sponsor. We're going to make sure that you get X amount of dollars maybe per month from them, or a bigger corporate main sponsor. Something,
maybe a signing bonus. I don't know what exactly the contract, the numbers are.
Something that boiled down to numbers.
But what he had, a lot of fighters didn't have. He had the opportunity to sign and handpick exactly who he wanted to be a part of.
Which is a very
for the rest of his career. Yes.
Very good scenario to find yourself, especially young.
Yes, it is. I mean, look at our guest today. Somebody would ask Mike, hey, and let me know if I misquote you, Mike. They'll ask Mike, hey, man, I must feel good to be in these big fights and these big pay-per-view events. And he said something to the effect like, yeah, it's only taken like 13 years.
Right, like it's that easy.
That was actually a quote from my good buddy Aaron Navarro, who's a trainer in Cutman in Texas. And somebody looked at him one time. We were on the road and says, man, you're doing really good. You're like an overnight success. And he said, yeah, man, it only took 20 years.
Exactly.
And that's how it happens.
Well, I mean,
you spend all this time doing it. Like, you get guys like Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
They've been beating dudes' ass since they were like 17 in backyards at Kimbo. Nobody really paid attention to what his potential was until he racked Till and then destroyed Askren, and all of a sudden everybody was like, well, where's this guy been? Well, he's been there the whole time. But that whole thing of, I went from nobody to superstar overnight, it only took 20 years. Those within the industries, like, some people look at it and laugh and go, I get it. Those in the industry know that you can spend an entire career going for that goal, going for that mountaintop, and then you don't get there until the end of your career.
It's not just that. I mean, Mike, is it safe to say it was just, you were just out there grinding and you made good of every opportunity that fell in your place?
Yes, and nothing comes without a lot of hard work and perseverance, because if you listen to everybody that tells you what you can't do, you may as well just jump off the train and lay on the tracks. And you got to, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. That's the big thing in anything in life. You got to believe in yourself. And I was very blessed and fortunate to be around some very, very good boxing people. And I've tried to, as I've moved forward in this thing, to keep surrounding myself with good people, because I'm a firm believer when when you put good people together, good things happen. This is not the NBA. This is not Major League Baseball. You're on no guaranteed contract. Boxing is a very funny, cutthroat business, and things change. Loyalties change, dynamics change, family dynamics change, training situations change, and a lot of times, to no fault of your own, those things will end up affecting, a trainer or a cutman or, somebody like that. So it's just a matter of going with the highs and the lows, and you appreciate the highs, but there are going to be some lows. It's just the nature of the business, and you just keep plugging along.
Well, let's talk about how you are adapting or adapted to, because this isn't your first time in the bubble, so to speak. Talk to us about Tulsa. How are they treating you there, and what's in place, to assure the safety of not only the fighters but yourself, Mike?
This is my third time in a bubble. I did a top-ranked bubble in June with Jesse Magdaleno, even though they had the two house Cutman, Mike Basil and Stitch. Yeah. He brought me in, and then last week I was fortunate enough to be one of the cutmen for the PBC fights on Fox with TGB Promotions. And then today I checked in for Matchroom. So I'm getting a pretty good look, of what, three of the top big-time promotions and how they're doing things. And the one thing that I applaud them all, and through the respective athletic commissions, is, the safety of not just the fighter, everybody working the event, from the athletic commission to the promotional staff to the officials. Safety is the utmost importance. You're right. We live in a very interesting, dynamic time right now, where these are things that we've taken for granted forever in our lifetime, and now we're being forced. And I'm not even going to. Well, maybe forced, but we're having to open our eyes up to live in a different world. And all three promotions, from the time you get here, nobody likes to quarantine in their room. Nobody likes to, check in on the side door of a major hotel and be walked up to an office, and immediately you sign some paperwork, you get tested, and you're in your room. And I'm probably going to be in this room for another 2 days. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but nobody's got a gun to our head. This is the price of doing business now. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody's compliant, because the alternative of not complying is you want to act like a jackass. You don't get paid. You're only screwing your own brand, your own money up. We're all here because we want to be. It's something that we've chosen to do. We're blessed to be able to do it, at a high level. And I would never want to disappoint, the teams that I work with. Could you imagine if I'm in the bubble with Freddie and Marie for Wild Card, and they come to me and say, "Hey, Mike, you broke the quarantine bubble," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I got bored in my room." It's just not professional. The people that look out for you and treat you good. I could never have that conversation with Sean Gibbons and tell him, "Hey, guy, I screwed up," because you know why? There's always somebody waiting in the wings to try to take your position. And it's just about being a professional, being mature, being professional. And it's not easy for the fighters. This is different for them. I'm going to tell you why. Is they're used to a routine and maybe going to the gym in the last week, shaking out a couple times a day. If their trainer, hasn't been tested yet, or their results haven't gotten back, then the trainer's in quarantine. So it's definitely eye-opening. And I think as we navigate through this, most of these promotions, with the exception of Top Rank, are throwing their first show, and everybody's trying to iron out the kinks to make it as user-friendly, but at the end of the day, to make it safe for everybody.
You just got to comply, because there's always that one who brings attention to us when we don't need it right now. You don't need any negative attention at all. Do what's asked of you to do. If not, there's a long list of names there that are people waiting for the opportunity and will be professional and comply with the great opportunity.
Absolutely. I sat at home for 4.5 months, and, with the exception of the Magdaleno fight, I was scheduled to leave for Jesse's fight to New York at the Garden for that same fight, when the whole pandemic started. I want to say around March 9th or 10th, and I was told, "Hey, that card is canceled. You're going to stay home." And I was fortunate enough to work that. So, the break was nice. I've been on the road probably about 10 or 11 years straight, and that's, obviously still working a full-time job as a homicide detective for the sheriff's department here in LA. And so a little bit of a break was nice, but I tell you what, you start getting that cabin fever, and you want to get back to work, because to me, if you ain't winning, you feel like you're losing, and it's just a matter of getting a sense of normalcy, and just doing what you love to do. And I worked some fights last week with Fox. I worked all 6 fights, and I got thrown in the fire right away because I was working with Lennox Allen. He fought
I noticed that.
David Morrell, and he got cut in the first round, so there was really no time to really kind of like take a couple of batting practice fastballs, and work a few rounds. He got cut right off the bat, and I had to manage that cut all 12 rounds. So, and then by the time the second and third and fourth, fifth fights come, you're working, but at the same time, hey, I was glad to be working.
Cole, I mean, you're listening to me. It's simple instruction, man.
It is.
Follow the guidelines that are in place. Read what you're getting into. If you don't like it, leave right then and there. Not when you're in the room and break the rules, man.
Yeah.
And call it career suicide.
Yeah, that would not realistically. That would pretty much. I don't know if it would be career suicide, but it would be highly suggested against, because you're going to look at somebody who can't be trusted.
Let me ask you this, Cole, because you fought in the UFC and they have their own set of guidelines. When you show up fight week, what's expected of you. You know what's expected of you.
You're on a real short leash.
When you show up, how your team's going to act, and they really are not in a position where they have to baby anybody. Am I right or wrong?
Correct. They pretty much give you an outline of, hey, when we have a meeting or an interview or something, be there or be off the card. Like, they make it painfully clear. If we have to go looking for you, we will not go looking for you. Somebody will come and let you know that it's time to go home. So they don't fuck around.
You want to be around people, and you want people that you can count on, that you can bank on to give their very best when their very best is needed. And
these promotions spend a lot of money.
There's a lot of people in this sport, whether it be fighters, trainers, broadcasters, podcasters, cutmen. Not everybody's always happy for your success, and they're always quick to point out, that somebody screwed up. I always watch people that are quick to point out how somebody else screwed up, because that'll tell me a lot about them. But this is the business and the livelihoods that we've chosen, and you got to put your big boy and big girl pants on, and you can't be thin-skinned.
That's true. I mean, it'd be like leaving and breaking quarantine when you're in a bubble like that would be like complaining that you have to put a life vest on when you go white water.
The main thing is you're breaking contract with your personal contract with your friends, with the connections, with all the networks that you made contact. You busted your ass to get here, and now just to break your word. Speaking of keeping your word, I spoke to Marie today, and she said, you know what? Let Mike know that Freddie enjoys working with him. He's very professional. He's always on time. And most of all, you're considered a friend. And I guess a job interview. She also said you're good at everything you do, my man.
I appreciate that. I'm going to tell you for a number of reasons, and a lot of people don't know the backstory.
That you're very trustworthy too. She threw that word in there too. Trustworthy.
She has turned out to be a tremendous friend that I look at more of a friend, more like family, because she's always been an ally of mine, and it's one of those things that didn't happen overnight, but I think she knows that I always have the best interests of their camp with Freddie and their fighters, and I have a tremendous relationship with all of them. And over the course of the last few years, it's developed that, that's like my second home over at Wild Card. I used to train originally at the first gym when Freddie was out here in LA at the Outlaw Gym that Mickey worked on, and I go back a long way with Freddie. But I was in no position and not working at that level when I got back into the sport, and it's just something that it's kind of gravitated toward that, working with Manny Pacquiao and a whole host of other guys that they have in their gym. And I'm very grateful. But it's the relationships that you have. It's the downtime, being on the road or in the gym. And, me and Freddie have the same birthday. And I remember when he fought Bobby Chacon up in Sacramento on his birthday. And I remember that in 1985, because I was going in the military like a week later, and my grandfather took me to that fight. My grandfather and I went to that fight, and the great thing is I had just come back from a great fight like a week and a half before up in Reno, when my dad and my brother was kind of a birthday military going away present when Ray Boom Boom Mancini fought the rematch with Livingston Bramble, and Bramble beat the brakes off of him in the rematch. And so those are two things that stand out to me. When I look back as as I was transitioning, from being a boy and into a man.
Hey, let's talk about that fight just real quick. A real quick note on that rematch. I remember Boom Boom Mancini brought a priest with him because of the voodoo stuff that he thought Livingstone Bramble was conducting on him.
Livingstone Bramble, I remember when Boom Boom was the challenger. Now Bramble had taken his title, and there was a lot of good fighters on that card. Virgil, former future light heavyweight, cruiserweight champ, and Olympian silver medalist Virgil Hill was on that card.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good fighters on that card. I remember Boom Boom came into the arena with that song, Boom Boom, Out Goes the Lights. And then all of a sudden Livingstone Bramble comes in, and he's coming into some Rastafarian music, and Bramble was just a terrific fighter, and everything that he did was just all wrong for Ray Mancini. And Ray was a good champion. He was a feel-good story. I've had a chance to talk to him numerous times on the Fox telecast and being on the road. He's a super nice man. He has a heart of gold. But those fights with Bramble and the one fight with Arguello, those definitely put a lot of miles on the odometer.
Yeah, even he finally got with Hector Macho Camacho. I mean that's been he's wanted that fight for a while. He actually came out of retirement for that fight. And Livingstone Bramble, before getting stopped by Edwin Rosario, which is a shocker on HBO in the second round, I remember Livingstone Bramble and Camacho. There was talks of them mixing it up, and that would have been a great fight.
Well, there were just so many great lightweights, and you mentioned El Chapo, Edwin Rosario. You had Jose Luis Ramirez. You had Camacho. I mean, you look at the contenders of the guys that you had between 135 and 140. The guys that didn't win a world title, and and you could say in today's landscape and geography, they would have at least won an interim belt, with some association.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mike, you're a boxing encyclopedia, man. I mean, when it comes to boxing, and I noticed that you never bring or mention your personal career. And here's a question for you. This is coming from your buddy, Manny Robles. He said, ask Mike, what career does he like more, homicide detective for the sheriff department or being a cutman?
Oh, and Manny is somebody that I just have the utmost respect for, because under the most critical, trying times, the man who I consider a friend, first of all, he acts like a man, and he's a class act. Yeah. And he deserved better in certain situations, but what he's accomplished, nobody could ever take away from him, and it's a family legacy. I know that, and that's something to be very proud of. I always hope that doing my job as a homicide detective in law enforcement and a boxing cut man, as Oscar's brother Joel De La Hoya called it, that I'm in the blood. He called me the crime-fighting cut man, and writer Gabe Montoya called that I'm in the blood business. I hope that doing one makes me better at the other, because everything I try to do in life, I try to do with passion and compassion, and try to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm blessed that I get to do two things that I love at a high level, and not many people maybe are in that position. And I always tell people that if I can do it, then anybody else can fulfill their dreams, whatever it is that they want to do in their life.
Is living two lives, man. Two
let
dreams.
Me add to that. There is, I never thought, if you'd asked me 20 years ago how I would make my mark in boxing, obviously if you thought I was younger, we all wanted to be champion of the world, that I would make a mark as a cut man. I couldn't have fathomed it. But I tell you what, being chosen to work with fighters, whether they're up and coming or world champions, and being trusted enough to kind of put them into your hands, really, they're for being cut and being swollen, the millions of people watching. I love, and maybe this is I love, wrestling. I love coming behind the curtain when we're walking to the arena. Sometimes I wish we could do that like 5 times in the same night. I love doing that, and you see the people in the stands, and you see your fighter getting ready for battle, and it's just, there's no more, it's just you and it's the fighter and the team at that point. You guys go in there, whether you go into hostile ground, and I've been to Russia, and I've been to England. I've been to England with with the hometown crowd screaming all kinds of things at you. You know what? It kind of fuels you, and you're very blessed to be there.
I can imagine that. I mean,
it's different behind a curtain. Yeah, every curtain is different, so to speak. Like if you go to one arena with one crowd and you're behind the curtain, it's going to be day and night to. You could fight the next day, and it's going to be day and night. It could be the same crowd, and it's just going to be different. They're all just different. Each fight's different. It's a different feeling behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Well, there's a certain energy. I remember when Julian Williams beat Jared Hurd for the unified junior middleweight title, and we had to travel to Virginia, and it was basically Hurd's home country. And there was just something in the locker room that I could tell that there was no way in the world that Jared Hurd, who was getting a haircut in his dressing room, he had a band and about 55 people in his dressing room.
Nice.
And I remember it was just me and Julian, his trainer Stephen Breadman Edwards, his assistant trainer
Breadman,
and his dad, the Breadman. It was just 5 of us in the locker room. There was just something about the energy, like that Phil Collins song, "In the Air Tonight." I had no doubt. Everything that Julian did in that fight to win that unified title, there was no doubt in my mind that that's exactly what was going to happen, and it did. And those are nights like that, because there's other nights when it's all said and done, you're like, man, everything just didn't feel right tonight. So you kind of have to embrace the magic of those nights, because they don't happen all the time. They're very special occasions, and I'm very much not just about the end result, which is very important, but I'm also about the journey, because it's those small moments. I remember sometimes me and Freddie will be the only ones in the gym, and we'll just be talking about the most random things, or you have those interactions with the trainers and the fighters. You know, I'm good friends with Buddy McGirt. I've had a chance, in the last couple of years to work with Cuban trainer Ismael Salas. Stephen Breadman Edwards. There's just a lot of great trainers out there.
There's a phone number there. Give her that. Have her dial that number that's there. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I know you got a couple of really good surprise guests on the night, and I was glad to be able to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
And we can talk about how excited I am to be working with the fighter that's coming on. But it's those small moments that mean the most to you. That's when you look back and you reflect and you kind of cherish those things.
Yeah, I think they'll be joining us right now. You said it. Hello, how we doing?
Yo, what's up?
Is this Jessica?
Yes, and Rick.
Rick, how we doing? Rick Ramos,
good.
Trainer. How we doing, my man?
Good. Glad to be on.
Hey, glad to have you on. Wish I could have got you on like 10 more seconds earlier, because Mike was telling us, first of all, who shot Kennedy, if UFOs are real, and the lotto numbers for tomorrow's lotto.
I gotta get those.
No, he had nothing but good things to say about you guys coming on, and I appreciate the awesome surprise, both having you guys on the show right before you guys perform tomorrow on DAZN TV. And I tell you, Jessica, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on as well. I really didn't expect to have you on, and to know just moments ago that we were going to have you on, I was very surprised and very excited. And I was just telling our co-host, Escovedo, UFC veteran here, that after Saturday, you're going to be walking away with not just 1 or 2, but it looks like all 6 belts.
Yeah, a handful of belts. That's the plan.
Hey, talk to us about the training camp and the way you guys click together. And I'll start with you first, Rick.
Jessica is a workhorse. I don't have to look for her. She's usually at the gym like minutes before me, or stays an hour after me. So training Jessica is easy. She makes it easy and fun. But as far as what we did, we stayed in the gym since January. We turned it up when we needed to, when the fights were off in April. Then we backed off for a little bit, and then we picked it back up when we heard the show was back on. So we stayed consistent, and we stayed in the gym the whole time. So we're ready.
You guys were just ready for that phone call and knocking on that door and letting all these promoters know, hey, we're ready to go. I'm fight ready, and let's make it happen. Jessica, did you ever expect that you'd be fighting for all these belts this soon in your career?
I knew from the beginning, because Rick always has been completely transparent with me about my career, he always said that my career would move fast, and that's exactly what's happened, and that partially being because of my age, and also partially because of how quickly boxing has just kind of sped up for the females in these last few years.
Yeah, you know, Mike, hearing this, Mike, and knowing that you see fighters' career, you see them blossom and you see them come to an end, how important is this? And talk to us about the opportunity that Jessica has Saturday night.
Well, you know, we had a brief conversation, you know, earlier about that. And first of all, I was told her and Rick how excited I was that, you know, they called me to work with them. Rick and I have been kind of, you know, friends at a distance, and we'd see each other from time to time. And I think we kind of always knew and wanted to work together. And I'm a big fan of Jessica. I've seen, you know, numerous the Farias fights, which were tremendous fights. And I think even when they got out of the ring, they were still ready to fight a couple of more rounds. Just a tremendous passion that they both have. And when you get a trainer and a fighter, it doesn't matter if it's a male, female, or two males or two females. When you have that bond and that trust, you feel like you can do anything, that the sky's not even the limit. And that's just the feeling I get with Jessica and Rick. Going back to what I said when I first came on, when you put good people together, good things happen, and I think that's a prime example. And I'm very blessed, and I'm very fortunate that I'm part of the team with them this week, and hopefully Saturday night. She has so many belts. She says, "Hey, Mike, I need you to help me carry like 3 or 4 of these back to the dressing room."
There you go. That's a good thing. Co, you know it's very important to have a great relationship with your corner and the trust. Talk to us about the trust that you've had in your career, and exactly you can identify with what they're talking about.
Yeah, I had pretty much the same corner for, I'd say, like 95% of my career. So you have to really trust them, because you're really relying on them to come up with a game plan that will best suit your ability, your talent, and will give you not the easiest win, but whatever the picture is for the game plan for you, it will give you that. So if you go in with an opponent where, like, dude, we can knock this guy the fuck out.
Yeah.
I want you to lead him to the left, and then I want you to crack this dude with your shin. And it'll happen. So versus coming up and saying, okay, this guy is really, really tricky. Don't get near him. Don't get close enough for him to shoot. If you do, you're going on your back. It's a lot of distance, and we just drill knees. A lot of distance and just drill knees. So you have to trust that whatever they're trying to get you on, whatever page they want you on, you have to just not question it. You just have to trust it. Sometimes you find out the hard way that you can't trust that person. And those scenarios, you see them play out. Like, we were just coldly questioning the game plan. You're like, why would you have him try to outbox a boxer? He's a wrestler. Why are you having him do that? What are you thinking? You know, or just trying to brawl with a dude that's just a beast. So it's just, you question that sometimes, and you see that happen. So you got to really trust them. And if the trust is there, they all say it, the sky's the limit, because you'll never question what their plan is. And if their plan is always, even if you lose a fight, as long as you trust their plan and you don't lose that faith, kind of, you'll be fine. But if you lose a fight and all of a sudden start questioning your coach, dude, that's a dangerous road to go down. That's a slippery slope, because once you question them once, it's like questioning a significant other. Once you question that once,
that's it, man.
you have now doubts in your head. So you have to alleviate those doubts. You have to trust that person.
What a comparison, huh? You want to compare it to that right off the bat.
You gotta, you gotta look at the depth of the relationship that's needed both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
And remember, that goes both ways. The trainer has to trust that you, the fighter, will not only listen, but you will stick to the game plan unless you hear me tell you otherwise.
Well, Jessica's career, it looks like they're doing something right, man. I mean,
when you're going on 6 belts,
I mean, you have the opportunity, Jessica. I mean, is it something what are you dreaming about these last few days, man? I mean, I know it's not the weight cut. I know it's not, anything that's going to push you in a corner, but are you dreaming about those belts?
If we're talking literal dreams, I've had some weird ass dreams these last couple of nights. I'll tell you that. I don't know what it is.
Them clanking against each other.
But I'm just visualizing. I'm visualizing everything Rick has been drilling into my head, and I've been trying to drill it in my head.
That's a huge key.
Just the same way he was telling me, I've just been rehearsing it in my head, rehearsing it. Just the same way he was saying, he's telling me to go one way, and when we go that way, I throw these punches. We go the other way, I throw these other punches. It's almost like I'm a video game character, and these are my moves, and I need to know exactly when and how to execute these moves.
Rick, does that just about sum it up right there? I mean, your game plan is ready. It's ready to be executed, and just waiting for that first bell to ring.
Yeah, I think we have multiple game plans. We have A, B, C, and D. Sometimes, occasionally E. Sometimes we're in deep water. We have to skip the game plan and go back to what we know. But she listens well in fight night, and so far so good. I mean, she's had 10 fights, and 6 of them were for belt. So I mean, that's pretty impressive, as going forward. But after Saturday night, that would lock Jessica's career into the female boxing Hall of Fame, and I think that is what I'm gunning for her.
Well, you know what? I hope that Mike does not have to be used at all. I hope all his gauze stays white, that he's just there actually watching the fight and doesn't have to come to the corner and use his expertise. And I'm very, how can I say it? I know you're going to come back with those belts. I know, and I'm watching some tape and just watching your whole story and knowing the corner that you have that tenacity and you have that will to continue to move forward. And I know you want to go on to bigger fights. Mike talked to me about that earlier today. What are your plans if and when you win all belts Saturday?
We have options, right? Like, being a welterweight champion of the world, we can get the rematch with Cecilia. We can go with a Katie Taylor fight, the rematch with Katie Taylor. That was a very, very good fight. The fans loved it. We can also, if Clarissa Shields comes down to 145, we can party at 145 with Clarissa.
That'd be a great fight.
Big names, big money, when we're talking legacy. So there's definitely options.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. Having those belts, I see what you guys are talking about. And Rich was talking about it earlier, and I just kind of clicked it as far as the negotiating power that you have, because now you go looking for the fights you want, and they'd almost be silly to turn them down at that point, because you have all the belts. Like, why would they turn you down?
Somebody offers you a title fight for 5 fights. I mean, you almost don't do it for the money. You do it for the belts, because once you get those belts, you have all the money. Yeah,
it gives you like McGregor negotiating power. Yeah. Everybody wants to fight you now.
Well, that's leverage. And
leverage. There you go.
And that's that extra star next to your name.
Leverage is a good thing to have in many industries.
Oh, yes, it is. Mike, talk to us about the leverage you have, my man, in your profession, man, when you're walking the streets and keeping everybody safe.
Well, I really don't walk the streets, unfortunately.
Well, I know you're checking the streets, man, and you're getting those clues and putting them together, man, and putting the bad guys behind bars is what I should have said.
I get there, after the fact. But
okay.
What I really want to hear from, honestly, guys, I really want to hear from Jessica, because she's a world champion, and I think the people out there really want to hear, her story. As far as what goes into this last week and the fight week and all the little different things that a world champion goes through, because I mean, from my perspective, when I'm done working, when I'm an old man, when I'm 90 years old, I'm going to count the number of world champions that I worked with, and I'm honored to add her, and Rick to that list, and I just think that there's so much goes into being a world champion on so many levels, that I'd really like to hear, like, what her preparation this week, as far as her mindset as each day gets closer to the fight.
So how are you feeling right now, Jessica? What exactly is going on right now, this last week that you're preparing and prepping yourself, not only the weight cut, but strategy?
I love fight week. All of the hard work has been put in, and we train at 4:45 in the morning, and that's just the first workout of the day. And we have a couple of more. We train strength and conditioning 3 times a week, sparring 3 times a week. It's pretty much nonstop at the gym, and I still have my full-time job, and I still have the girls that work under me that we're training and bringing up and teaching them how to fight and how to train other people and how to run the class and run the gym. So they're holding it down for us right now back in Chicago while we're out, handling business. And I don't have to work this week. I took the week off, so my day job has been pushed to the side. I have a lot more time to just focus and rest my body. And like I said, all of the hard work has been done. So now it's just a lot of mental preparation. You see everybody that's here getting ready for fight week. It's not just you, it's everybody's hustle and bustle, and you just really focus your energy on where you want it to be, because you can very easily get stirred up. Oh, hey, you have an interview at this time. You have an interview at this time. You have your virtual workout at this time. So there's a lot of things that get thrown at you, even though it is fight week and you have a lot more time to yourself. So you just have to be ready to just kind of juggle everything as if it were just a normal kind of day and go and roll with the punches and keep everything organized. And I have Rick here to help me with that. And from there, we're just ready for Saturday.
And I was talking to Mike earlier on the way he's able to adapt to the quarantine in the bubble. What do you do to stay occupied in there, man? I mean, because you really can't get up and leave unless you're leaving with the rest of the team. What do you do on your free time? Are you just 100% focused on the fight? Are you? What exactly are you doing to stay active and to stay afloat?
Well, I have an 8 a.m. workout time, so that's my hour that I get to go to the gym. They escort you, and then they have a hazmat team that comes in and cleans up everything after you're gone. Come back, just kind of shower, relax. They have 3 meals that are delivered to you throughout the day, so we have that. We're just kind of picking up little things here and there, like we figure out how to get our laundry taken care of, things like that. I have Zoom workouts with my strength and conditioning team, Pro Fitness, back home in Chicago, so I'm still getting a little extra workout in just to make sure that everything is loose and limber and ready to go. I'm not just sitting here laying down taking naps all day. I am watching a little bit of garbage TV, like Catfish. I don't watch TV at home, so I'm getting a little bit of that in here, but a lot of stretching. I have like my foam roller thing, just keeping everything nice and organized. And then a lot of interviews, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a normal, like, fight week is one thing, like, when you're on the card, but when you're at the level that she's at right now, as far as she's the face of the card kind of thing, her fight is the face of the card. So this is a different fight week for her. There's going to be a lot more expectations, a lot more open workouts for the media, things like that, the virtual workouts, like there way more interviews, like, It's easy to get bored too, I can see in the bubble, but at the same time with the amount of itinerary that I imagine the promoter has her on right now, it's probably hard to get bored. So
you know what I want to know, and Jessica, what song are you walking out with?
What song? I don't have we picked it yet. I think.
Well, right now it's between 2 songs. We like to go with a lot of Kanye, because Kanye's from Chicago and he's wild, and it kind of pumps up Jessica. But right now it looks like Wash Us in Your Blood from Kanye West. But it's pretty aggressive, it's pretty wild, and it's brand new. So, we like to stay on top of the hottest music out there to get people pumped up.
Oh, exactly. I mean, everybody, even listening, man, I mean, they want to be a part of that ring walk. Everybody wants the walk down to the ring, but not everybody wants to get inside the ring and compete at this high level.
It's a lot of psychological warfare too. You've got the weigh-ins, you've got press conferences, you've got the stare down, and then you've got like the walkout. Remember, some fighters thrive on that. So like if they'll walk out, they're okay, they're doing good, they're walking out, the crowd sounds, okay, they have a good fight. That same fighter walks out to a crowd just losing their fucking mind. That guy, I guarantee you, will go in there and destroy whoever he's in front of that night because the crowd was so excited. Some fighters, they drive off that. Yeah, that goes nuts.
They feed off it.
Well,
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. And like everyone says, Cecilia's got experience over Jessica. And, with the experience, that's crowd experience, right? Like some of that, the majority of that's crowd experience. Well, there's no crowd. Yeah. There's no one to cheer Cecilia on. We're in the middle of the street, downtown Tulsa, so it's going to be a street fight. And Jessica and I grew up in the street, so this is like our territory. It's our time, our territory. Cecilia's going to be 39 years old. We're ready to go.
Is Berkhu's a fighter that you've been your radar on? Somebody you've been studying? Somebody you've been wanting to share the ring with for a while, Jessica?
I mean, we've had Cecilia on our radar for quite a while. I met her in 2017. They invited us for sparring, and we turned that down because, again, we thought, this could happen. This could be something that comes to fruition later on, and it did. Of course, we've had the Katie Taylor fight, and we wanted McCaskill Taylor too. Preferably, right after this fight, that's something that we're looking at. She has to get past Delphine, of course. But those are kind of my top 2.
What about, you talked about the Clarissa Shields fight, and that would just be, an event itself, a pay-per-view, and that would just put you as the face of boxing. Is that something that you look forward to before your career, before you call it a career, to share the ring with, as they call, the GOAT?
I'm not necessarily looking. That sounds like a very kind of like fan type question to me. I think I'm just looking to fight the best that's out there. I mean, we talked to Amanda Serrano's camp as well. We both would love to have that fight. I think that would be an explosive fight, and we both have big fans. You've got Brooklyn, I got Chicago. We can tear that up, but it's more so of, you know, chasing history, chasing the big fights, the big names, and if it's not one person, there's someone else. So it's not necessarily like, oh, well, you know, let's get Push Shields. Okay, well, if that doesn't work out, then there's somebody else, and we can still make it big. So if it's right for the time and space, then that's what we want to go for.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'd like to see you and Raquel Miller. I think that'd be a good fight. Very similar styles, so to speak. So why is this?
Raquel Miller at?
Oh, yeah, she'd have to come down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she'd have to come down. In your career right now, are you exactly where you want to be right now, today, this minute?
Yeah, you can ask us that on Saturday.
Okay.
I definitely had no idea what to even aim for. I just knew at every kind of step of the way I had to be my best and I had to do the best. And so it started off with, you know, small fights. I got to win my first fight. I got to get a knockout. I have to, you know, fight overseas. I have to fight for a belt. And it just kind of grows. And at that specific moment, you're in that moment. And then next, you know, you're fighting for, you know, 5 belts. So it wasn't really something that I kind of looked to in the beginning. And I just wanted to be the best, and I wanted to win, and that's kind of where that took me.
Yeah, very well said. Cole, listening to that and just knowing how much she's accomplished since she turned pro in boxing, and knowing those big fights are out there, and is it to say, I don't need a name to make my career. There'll be other big fights that I will be involved in. When you hear that from a young fighter, and I say young in the sport of boxing, what goes through your mind?
That they're patient and they know that, like we've talked about in the past, long successful careers are marathons, not sprints.
Exactly.
So you have to know, be just damn sure when it's time to move on, move up, take the chance, pass on it. Like, there's other big fights. Now, granted, at some points in your career early, you get offered those fights. It may be a while before you get offered another one, depending on the scenario. They're all different. They may offer it to you the next following 6 months. I don't know, but knowing when to take them and when to pass is a key factor in the longevity of a fighter's career, especially when they're young. You may think that's not the best scenario. That doesn't work the best for us. Like, we don't really get anything for that fight except maybe some paycheck. That's it.
What I'm hearing from you, Jessica, and what I'm liking from the whole camp is you're very selective on your career moves. You're very selective and you're giving it the proper thought process before you just jump in and say, okay, this is what I want to do. You're thinking of, like Cole said, the whole marathon, the big picture. Rick, when you hear this in your fighter, is it something that you've installed in her since day one, that you just come together as a team and you make these decisions as a team?
Yeah, I mean, you know, early, if we take it back to the beginning of her career, Ronda Rousey, and I'm sure you guys remember, she was on the cover of Ring Magazine. Yeah. She had a boxing glove and an MMA glove. And I was close to possibly getting that fight at some point if she was to come to boxing. And I knew that Jessica, you know, I always said that I don't think Ronda has a chance, and I think, you know, that's a fight for us to jump on. And then she got knocked out, and then she kind of disappeared from the sport. And then after that, you know, I said, you know, we have to go after a big name immediately, because women's boxing is like the wild, wild west. Like, if you jump on a good wave, you can ride that wave all the way through. So when we got to Katie, we were calling out Katie Taylor. We got the Katie Taylor fight. We put on a phenomenal performance. Nobody wanted that fight. We took it. We flew over there, put on a great performance, and that led to other opportunities. You know, I don't know how much you know about, like, Jess and I, but we promote the fight basically ourselves, you know. And I know we have, you know, Eddie Hearn as our promoter and Warriors as our promoter, but at the same time, I do a lot of promoting myself, and I come up with the ideals. This was my idea to bring to Eddie about Cecilia. It was my idea that I brought to Eddie about Katie. It was like they really didn't come with the really with the ideas other than that, in between Anaí Sanchez and Erica Farias. But other than that, the biggest names we got was because I thought it was the right time, So I feel like when Jessica, talks about like the game plan, we always sit down and we always figure it out. We'll have dinner and just be like, yo, so these are the things I came up with. What do you think? And then we kind of just chop it up from there and pick it apart. And we usually have 3 plans at all times.
Well, that's why you have a great family and a great corner and a great team behind you because, Escovedo did it best in his career. You're not going to just sit back and let the pieces connect themselves. Quiet mouth doesn't get fed. And you went out there and you made some moves, some phone calls, and your ideas were not shut down, but they were accepted. And now you're here today and you're part of this poster main event, DAZN TV, this Saturday.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been a great ride, and my ideas were strong enough that Eddie didn't just hang up on me or he didn't just blow me off. They were like, let me explore that a little bit, and he comes back with 2 yeses. So, we're easy to work with. We want the best fights. We're easy to deal with. I always try to bring in the best people possible for the job. Yeah. For the time, so we try to stay busy. We all communicate. I have one rule in my gym, and that rule is no secrets. We all tell each other good, bad, or horrible, and we'll get through it. And I think when you know what cards you're dealt, it's easier to play the hand. And I just live by that. And I think it's easy. It made our lives easier and our careers easier.
So. Earlier, I heard you, Rick. I heard you mention Ronda Rousey earlier, and that you guys were looking at her for a potential matchup, given a crossover. So I imagine you follow MMA a little bit, or at least some of the females that are in there. Van Zandt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she got cut loose. She didn't get cut loose. Her contract was up. They didn't renew. She made the move over to bare knuckle fighting and signed a multi-fight deal with them, knowing the current state of women's boxing and the speed in which it's increased and the potential money and her value for having. She's just a good, decent fighter, and she's got a good following, and she's pretty, and she's got a good brand. She's got a more. Do you think that was a correct move for her, or do you think there was possibly a potential for bigger long-term money if she had moved over into, say, boxing?
Well, that's a great question, and I think bare knuckle boxing is paying better than MMA right now, the UFC. Mm-hmm. So I think she went. I think she should explore boxing. I think you could protect her with 5, 6, 7 pro fights and try to keep her in that.
Keep the brand out there.
Safety, if you will. But I think if you need quick cash, you go to bare knuckle boxing. I know they pay a little bit more than your first
currently
10 fights as a pro, but I don't know what her money situation is. But if she needs money, then it was a right move. If she doesn't plan to stay in the sport long, any combat sport, then it's the right move. But if she's looking to hang around for a while, it might not be the best move. But I don't really think I can answer that yet. We'll see how she does. I know Paige just signed with them too. The MMA girl, the blonde girl. I can't remember.
That's Van Zandt.
Yeah,
that's Paige.
Today, I think bare knuckle. So a lot of those girls are going over there. But if any of those girls are listening, call me because I will be your manager, and we'll get some big pro fights. And we need more big names in female boxing as well.
And that's what I was saying is she carries. I think she Paige might carry enough fan following and still star power on herself. Absolutely. Like she wasn't a belt holder, but she's still got a huge following.
Bro, I'm gonna have Zoila Frosto call him.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Ryan Garcia. Whether if you love him or hate him, he came into the sport with something. He didn't just show up with his hand out. This kid had fans. And if Bam Bam if she needs to turn pro, call me. Because let's do it. I'll sign any of those girls because I think those girls they're all tough, they're all rugged, and they're not afraid to fight. And I think that's 80% of it right there.
That's the appeal right there is what bare knuckle was looking for. They're like, look, we're going to throw a big number at you. We already know you want to get punched in the face, so we're just going to throw a big number at you versus long term.
Those girls are probably making $25,000 a fight. I mean,
minimum. Paige is probably making closer to $50-$60K for her fights.
Yeah, there you go. So
and that's not even boxing money.
You get quick cash and get it.
No. Hey, Rick, I'm gonna send some girls your way, man.
We know a couple. We know a couple bangers, man.
Yeah. My phone is always open. Whatever
okay, we're gonna make that happen.
Because they're not just MMA.
Richard, can I interject something? And you got a lot of people in the fight game that kind of talk out of one side of their mouth or talk out of your ear. Rick has the one thing, and him and I talked about this earlier, and I told him he already knew it, but what he has now and what Jessica has and what we all strive to have is championship pedigree. And championship pedigree shows you that you've had success and that you've done things the right way. And if you're going to listen to somebody, you listen to somebody like Rick, because obviously you can tell he wears many hats within the camp.
Yeah.
But he knows what he's doing, and the big thing you have to have in this world is you got to have vision. You got to aspire to do something. You got to have vision, and he's obviously somebody that didn't listen to like the rest, like us, people telling him what he couldn't do. You know, he gets his mind set to something, and look now. Him and his fighter, they're headlining, a world title fight, the main event for the whole world to see. So it would behoove anybody that wanted to cross over to this sport that he's at the top of their list to give him a call.
Definitely, very well said. And that's good to know.
I agree with that. I mean, like anybody that's looking to call Rick, let me just give you a little preview. Rick don't play. If you watch our No Days Off miniseries leading up to this fight, you see some of the girls get kicked out. We had to pick up a couple girls from the police station. We've had some powwows. Like we expect everybody to work all the time. If you don't, you get thrown out. That's how we work.
I drew out world champions. I drew out Olympians. I drew out everybody. Get out. I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even who was at my gym last week was Montel Griffin, Frezzo Kendo, and they're like, yo, Rick, you don't play, you're throwing out everybody. You know, and they just kind of like, they kind of laugh about it. But if you guys don't want to work it out,
taking up space otherwise.
Everybody in Chicago.
Yeah.
Simple. Follow directions. Be a part of it. Give it your all. Have that attitude that you need. Yeah, simple.
Yeah, my mom just smacked me around when I was younger when I didn't follow directions. So.
See? Well, you're in the right business, man. You're definitely in the right business. And you know what? Mike, he has a certain, from the years that I've known Mike, he has a certain bubble, and it's finally that we say is, or circle, and he only surrounds himself with people such as yourself, Rick, that are go-getters, that are trustworthy, and that have their feet on the ground, and, the assholes he puts behind bars, the good guys he keeps around him.
Well, that's the thing. I think attractive people attract each other. And I've always had my eye on Mike. Like I said, I ran into Mike in Chicago, Brooklyn, maybe California somewhere. Me and Mike ran into each other so much, and I knew in the back of my mind that we would work together. And I actually think I brought that up. I said, Mike, we're going to do business at one point. And this time it all worked out, and I needed him, so I called him up, and Mike was like, yo, I'm down. And that was it.
Awesome.
And now he's here. He's down the hall from me right now. But he's in quarantine right now. But, it's good. I'm glad that he's here. And I'm comfortable that he's here. And once I'm comfortable, I'm dangerous. So I got the right team with me. And I'm happy.
Well, I'm glad I'm on your team too, man, because I'm hearing your resume right now, and I want to make sure I'm one of the good guys in your gym. I don't get thrown out.
For sure. No. I've actually been watching your show. I was watching last night. I always keep an eye on you. I always do.
I appreciate that. We got a great team here, man, and we're like you. We're striving. We're trying to get there. We're a couple pieces away, but we're on our way.
Hey, Richard, it wasn't me. I mentioned that I was going to be on the show tonight. You already knew who you were. He had already peeped it out. It wasn't something that was very foreign to him, and I said, you know what? Let me make a phone call. Let me talk to Richard's talent coordinator, and let's see if we can make this work. And we made it work, and I'm glad we did.
Hey, it's a pleasure having all three of you on there, and Jessica too. I want to let you go, Jessica, because I know you. Hey, you got a solid schedule, and I don't want to be that speed bump. And I know your hand is going to be raised Saturday. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be switching back from UFC to DAZN this Saturday because I also want to see McCaskill make a professional debut, and that's what we're going to be talking about later on in the show. But Jessica, we wish you well, and knowing that you have the corner that you have. The rest of the work is just for you. Just go in there and have fun. We don't got to tell you what to do. You're born for this.
Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate being on your show. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor. Have anything for her, Cole?
Jessica, the same thing. You sound really focused. I look forward to hearing good
Very
news
focused.
after Saturday. And I mean, even with my experience, I wish I could offer some of these fighters more advice. But the thing is, though, they're at such a high caliber level that they're already doing.
They're
what
doing
they
the right
be doing.
things.
Yeah, they're doing it all. They got there.
And
already.
they got a good team and a good corner.
Exactly. Circle. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that
good circle is
Good circle.
one of the formulas. So yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Hey, any last words? Any last words? Anybody want to drop anything? You want to give a shout? I want to thank your sponsor. Now's the time, guys.
Well, I got a good question for Mike, though, real quick.
Okay.
Mike, real quick, I'm going to throw you on the hot seat. Your experience as a homicide detective, what is the most accurate or realistic homicide movie or TV series that you've come across?
Good question.
None. You're better off watching Bugs Bunny and Wile E. Coyote. I can't watch any of those shows. If you're going to watch something, I did an episode of Dateline back in November, the Black Widow of Lomita. Dateline is a really good show. CBS, I don't know if they still do it, 48 Hours Murder Mystery. But when you watch those CSIs, and I didn't even know that we had NCIS in New Orleans. All of a sudden now we got NCIS all over the country. I worked cases with NCIS, but I guess it makes for good entertainment because people like to sit on their couch and be exposed to different things. I'm always blessed that I get to do two things in my life that most people have to watch on TV. But it's all for entertainment. For me, I like real stuff. I don't like made up stuff.
How about Real Detective on HBO? Have you ever caught that? With McConaughey was on it, and I think Woody Harrelson was in the first season. Did you ever catch that?
Like I said, man, I'm not really into the actors trying to portray homicide detectives because a lot of the times the way the dialogue and the tone and the tenor of the banter of how cops interact with people is just not accurate. There's always a phone ringing in the background, and there's always somebody screaming, and you got all these TV detectives telling the suspect what they did, and I know those kind of things don't hold up in a court of law. But my sons or my family always tell me, it's just a movie or a TV show, and I'm like, when you know too much about something, sometimes I guess it just ruins it for me.
Yeah, that'd be like being a boxer watching a boxing movie, and you're just like, come on, they don't move like that. Stop it, You don't move like that. What are you doing?
What we need is the Jessica and Rick Ramos story, and HBO can do a real feature on them.
There we go.
You know what? I'll tune in and I'll watch that. How about that?
I think that'll be great, and also the fighter's voice could do a voiceover as well.
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go. We'll make it happen. Hey guys, we're going to cut you loose. I appreciate the time. Appreciate you making this happen, Mike. And iron sharpens iron, and I say that even when you're networking. Rick, wish you well, and I know this isn't the last time we're going to have you both on this show, and after a week goes by or so forth, I want to have you both on here and back again, and we can do a recap, a post-fight interview after give it a week or so to adapt and come back and with your families in the bubble. Let me know if you're available, and we'll get you back on here too, Mike.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
See you guys. Good luck. Thanks for coming.
Hey, and thanks for subscribing and supporting the show. Appreciate you guys. Have a good evening, guys.
No problem. Take care, guys.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Kept it real, man. He said, no, I'm not doing Hollywood, man.
Yeah, no, and that's why I kind of figured, because every cop I've asked, I got a couple of homicide detective friends of mine that are really close.
These are the guests that I like. I really do. It's that, and no disrespect to the other guests, it's that different type of level guest of the platform they're accustomed to and where they want to go with their time being interviewed and what they want to get across to the viewers, the fans, and the followers. I was just telling one of our supporters today, hey, I appreciate all the conversations I have with Mike, because the conversation that I have with them, a lot of times they go, hey, Rich, I was watching this, man, you're doing this and you're doing this, as opposed to Mike, he's letting me know what I didn't do and how to do it better next time.
Constructive criticism.
And those are the ones that I appreciate. So anyways, being that said, I want to talk about this rematch, this trilogy, man.
Oh, the DC Stipe fight?
It's like money itching in my pocket.
I know. I was looking at some pictures of DC, and he was actually looking pretty, not slim, but trimmer than the second fight, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I like to see. I think if he comes in the way he came in, because he changed, you have to change your game plan every time. Yeah. So this game plan's going to be
and he changes levels
hybrid
throughout the fight.
Yeah, and then, like I said, Javier and those guys, they've got Rudy, they've got those guys have like 2 or 3 game plans that they try to implement on the fly, not because one's failing, but because Stipe is doing something specific. Okay, run this, because he's doing that. And they drill it all the time. And so it's not that they have plan A, B, C. It's we have plan A, B, and C. They're all one plan. It's just a matter of what he does is going to dictate which direction we take right out the gate. It's going to change. And that may go from plan C, maybe the first one. And then Stipe does something and he goes, okay, well, we're going to switch to plan A.
Well, that's just what Rick talked about today. He said we got plan A, B, C, and even D.
Right? All the way to K, the kitchen sink, man. You gotta have all of them.
I'm gonna be tuning in, man. I'm gonna be going back and forth.
I'm going with. I think DC walks away with the gold on this one. I think I'm
talking about both fights going on Saturday.
Yeah, you're going to be bouncing back and forth between Vegas and Tulsa.
Well, not only that, Showtime has David Benavidez fighting, so I'm like a kid in a candy store.
I imagine, yeah, for your boxing sweet tooth, it's just being abused.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see DC walking away with the belt on that one, and that'll probably be his last fight.
Well, it has to be. I mean,
well, it doesn't have to be, but the way he's talked about it.
Okay, say he wins, and what if during the whole pre-fight thing, the post-fight, he says, "John Jones, get your shit together."
Nah.
Remember how he did last time?
He might tell him, get your shit together, but I don't think he'll fight him.
Or just, that would be cool just to drop the mic that way. Just to, okay, what did he mean? Is he going to come back? Is he not going to? Because last time he said that, he wanted that.
Nah, because Jones, I'd have to give Jones this. Jones has been pretty good about getting his shit together lately. Like, he's been doing a lot to change people's opinion of him.
Well, I didn't mean it to talk about this.
Well, no, but I mean in the sense of, like, I don't think DC would call him out for the sense of
drop the mic, you know, instead of dropping your gloves and leaving for the last time. Just kind of.
Maybe.
Or say, Jones, I'll see you soon.
Something like that, maybe, but it's just that I'm confident that.
Can you imagine if those guys had a podcast?
Who, DC and Jones?
Yeah.
I like DC, don't get me wrong, but I don't think...
Or played in a movie, you know, where a bad cop, good cop.
DC's place is good as a...
commentator, he's great.
Analytic commentator. Yeah. Like, he did a really good job with Fox when they had him on there.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like a really good fit for someone like DC. Yeah. He's outspoken, he's well-spoken, he's articulate. He has so much knowledge of the inner workings. And he loves the kids,
you know, head coach. You know,
yeah,
wrestling.
I mean, it's just and plus his knowledge. Like I have a good understanding of the inner workings, but only at my level. Like, DC's gotten even higher than that within the organization. So his understandings of those inner dealings and the inner workings of the organization and what really gets done and how it gets done and stuff, he would have a lot more insight on that. So that's why I think they put him in that spot, and that's why he does so well. He's like a John Madden or a Howie Long or something. Like, they have such in-depth knowledge of a high level.
These guys have wonderful careers, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's easy to say, you know what, I'm getting hit in the face no more. I'll stand behind the camera. But to still want to get back in there, they got more to prove. And they see little obstacles and they see little holes in different people's game plans, and they want to go out there and prove themselves over and over again. I mean, look at Cruz. Cruz, again, I mean, he has options in his career.
Yeah, Dom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him doing some things. I saw Garbrandt talking about 125. I think that's a low weight for him to get to. But they were also saying that they saw Cody walking around at like 145. So if he's walking around 145, 25 is not out of his reach. No. So if he's already dropped down that weight. But I would say DC on that one. Who else is on that card? Oh, O'Malley's on that card. Sean's on that card. The Rainbow Fro.
Yeah.
With the fucking right hand from hell.
Yeah.
That dude just looks like he just goes.
Star is Born.
It's just like he sits there and he's like, oh, okay, I'm done. It's like it's like he knows the opening's coming and he's just waiting. 3, 2, 1. It almost looks effortless. The last couple of fights he's had, it just looks like he doesn't even care to be there. Like,
you know,
he doesn't
like when you
challenged.
see somebody and you know a star is born, you just see that it factor in him.
Yeah, but he'll also be like the repeat offender too. Like, he'll win the belt and then they'll yank it because he tests dirty. He'll beat the fuck out of like a couple guys in a row and then get the belt again and then they'll take it to him because he got like that'll be his cycle. But nobody will be able to stop him from just coming in and just taking it again. Yeah. So there's that potential there.
And he'd be like, well, I'm not fighting right now, so I can do whatever I want to do, right?
Yep. And he's getting the co-main spotlight.
Yeah.
After that fight against Wineland, that knockout against Wineland, dude, the co-main spot on a pay-per-view on the Stipe.
Who DC recently pulled out of the fight? Romero, wasn't it?
I want to say yes, but not 100%. I haven't really been following that too much.
This weekend, we missed that one. Well, I caught it just in time. I was very surprised on the rematch. And Ben, I'm just getting
Henderson?
caught. Yes.
Yeah. Mike Chandler and Ben Henderson. That wasn't. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not trying to say that like, okay, that's it. But at this point, I would look back and go,
why do it?
Where are we going with? Where do we want to go now? Where are we going? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's gone from
he was out, man,
the top of the class comp to still tough comp. But I think like if you got to here, and now
and the first fight could have went either way. It was going back and forth.
Yeah, this one was kind of one-sided almost. It's just like it was. It just maybe it wasn't Ben's night.
Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't.
But Chandler, he's really dangling with the open market right now. Like after that fight, he was like,
what better way to drop the mic? His just expired, right? His contract, and now Bellator. Hey,
he literally said, he said all the guys in my weight class, you're on fucking notice. Yeah. And then he said, Scott Coker, you're on the clock. Yeah. Basically, that means this contract's up. Offer me something really fucking juicy, or I'm going. Yeah. I would rather see Chandler in the UFC right now. I think there's
let him get tested.
There's a bigger, not so much tested. He's been tested plenty of fucking times against tough guys, but this was a win that I'm like, the roster is thinning for Bellator as far as dangerous fights to give him. Mm-hmm. What, are you just going to keep having fucking rematches with people?
This was a dangerous fight for him to have.
Agreed.
It was. I mean,
Ben Henderson is a dangerous fucking opponent.
Exactly. So. I mean, because you don't want your last fight on a contract, getting the belt, so to speak, and then bouncing. You don't want them leaving the company. So it could have went either way.
I don't think they can offer him. I think he's going to sit back and go, what can you offer me financially? But him and his manager are going to have to think back and go, what can you offer me for long term? Yeah. This is. I'm going to sound like just a douche right now, okay? So please forgive me, guys. You're not going to like this at all. Being a UFC champ or being a Bellator champ is not the fucking same as being a UFC champion. It's just not.
It's not.
Scott, I'm sorry, bro. I love you. I think you've done everything you can for the sport, and it's exactly where it is because of people like you. But being a Bellator champ is not the same as being a UFC champ. They don't
get the national commercials. They don't get the coal stars in the big movies.
I think they don't.
The
but
UFC
they also
champions
don't have,
do.
They don't have the exposure of roster.
Well, exactly.
And that's from a bankroll thing too.
That doesn't mean the lack of talent, because the talent is there.
They have talent.
It's just the strap that you're holding.
Exactly. So you got guys like Chandler that I think he would fare better, and I think we could get good fights out of him with the competition level that they have to offer. They've got a roster of fighters that he's not fought before. So you can either have him keep doing rematches, or you can have him fight a bunch of new guys and build a brand, or build those guys' brand off of Mike. Maybe they beat Chandler. He is going to be like another Askren. He's going to sit there and go, show me the fucking money. You're not showing it. You want to show it to me? Go to they're sold. Yep. Like, he's a very prime position right now. So I would imagine you'll see something soon with an announcement of either him renewing a very juicy Bellator contract, which unfortunately I would say that's a mistake. That is, I think that's a mistake. I'm not one to tell anybody what to do with their careers, but I am going to offer injection into what I know about the sport and go, I think that's a mistake. There's more money and more potential for sponsors, fights, brand, all that shit.
Opportunity too, man.
The doors are all over with the UFC right now. It's just the way it is, period. So him calling out and telling Scott you're on the clock, that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm sure he's fully aware after that, at that fight, that it's like, okay.
So how does this work? Who contacts who? Do they contact the UFC, or the UFC contacts
I think the UFC will reach out to them. Someone from the UFC will reach out to them and say, hey, we want to talk. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it goes.
How's it going?
And I'm sure.
How do they break the ice? Hey, how you
remember,
doing?
Chandler's not the only guy. I'm sure there's other guys in Chandler's camp that may have had undercard spots in the UFC or prelim matches or something. So there's other guys on his team that might be in there. He's been under contract.
Sometimes you'll see him work the corner.
Exactly.
Yeah, jump around.
So there's already open dialogue with the UFC as far as anybody on his team. Yeah. That's very easy for that dialogue to go, okay, so what do we want to do about Mike? Mm-hmm. That conversation will change. Not that their team's going to get a back burner, but they've already got a dialogue going. So I think it's already happened. Like, they probably said, let's see what happens with this last fight. And then what happens? Because that's your last fight on the contract.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. We won't talk to you until after. There's no point. You might get fucking knocked out. Yeah. Let's see what happens with that fight. And then boom. So I imagine we'll see some kind of an announcement of Michael sitting down and talking with UFC brass at some point about trying to ink something, because it really doesn't matter what Bellator offers him at this point. Is there's no longevity in it. Unless all of a sudden Bellator's going to go, look, I'm bringing in 15 fucking guys that are all hungry for you to just fucking test yourself against. Cool. That's not what's happening.
Yeah, no.
UFC has their hands on every new organization, every new possibility, every new contender that's coming up. They're just going to start handpicking contenders for these guys. Not handpicking in the sense of, here's who you can beat. It's, you want a fucking challenge. We want exciting fights.
Exactly. They're going to be selective in who you fight.
Exactly. They're selective in the point of what's entertaining for the business, what's good for the business, competitive, challenging fights. We're not going to give you cans, shit like that. So, but I'll leave with this. So I got DC, I got O'Malley, And then I've got at a left field, I see John Dodson's fighting on this card. He just fought back in February and got a dub, so he's on his way back. A lot of people look at his record, it's like 21-11 or like 22-11 or something. What people forget, and this is why Dodson gets counted out so many times, he's lost 11. It's a lot. It's a healthy number, but they're all decisions. No one's been able to finish Dodson. Think about that.
He's athletic,
because those weight classes, they're fast and they're mean, and no one's finished him. Everybody else in that weight class in the UFC has been finished.
And you know what?
Once
Every single fight he's been in, even his losses, he's been in the fight.
Exactly.
He hasn't been dominated where it's just, he had maybe one bad outing. Other than that, he's in every single fight.
Exactly.
And he pressures you.
So
his style doesn't change.
I would say watch that fight because Dodson is just, no one's finished him.
No.
Now, granted, the 11 losses by decision means that his game plan just isn't enough to finish whoever he's fighting at the same time, or they're just a fucking tough cookie. You happen.
Well, look at the names on his resume, man.
Yeah, at that weight class, he's fought everybody. With the exception of Cejudo being undefeated and retiring, everybody at that weight class has lost because everybody's kind of dangerous. They're fast. They fast and they hit hard. That's fucking dangerous combo, bro. So to be only losses or decisions, that just means you just didn't have a smart game plan that night, maybe, or you didn't implement the game plan. No one's finished him. So something to think about when you watch that fight, or when you were looking at Dodson as a whole and go, yeah, he's not the most prolific fighter, the most known fighter, whatever, but the
Frankie
dude,
Edgar was like that for a while. Then he finally got caught. Was it last year?
Yeah. Who clipped him? God damn, why am I drawing a blank on that? It wasn't Connor.
No. It was our guy that's hot right now.
Wow, I feel stupid right now. I'm drawing a blank on who just dropped Edgar.
Hey, if you guys know who
someone's gonna tell me. I almost wanted to say. I almost wanted to say it was Brian Ortega.
No, Brian Ortega.
Because he beat Swanson, and then didn't he beat Edgar after?
Did he drop him? I think he might have.
Help me out here, peeps. I'm pretty.
See, that was a while ago, but no, okay, no, he's never been knocked out. And that was his first time being stopped by a punch, and that was
Edgar's first time getting rocked like that.
Yeah.
But the thing goes here is like Dodson's never been finished, so that's why I'm not saying Dodson will win, but I am saying that I like his chances better because of the fact that no one's found a way to finish him. He's tough, so as long as he can come with a plan that pressures you and throws you off your game plan, good fucking luck, because no one's finished him yet.
I mean, you don't look forward to fighting this guy.
Dude.
This guy's didn't give you fits. You don't go and say, hey, I want to fight him. Are you going to fight him? Like, huh?
We used to have a guy on our team called Thunder Chicken. That motherfucker, dude, he was like a farm level circuit guy.
Is he the guy that you would knock down early, so if you don't put him away, you're in for a long night?
Yeah, he's one of that was El Burro.
Okay.
That was Pat Murphy. That was El Burro. That motherfucker kicked like a mule. But that was the guy that got dropped. This guy was just the guy that was game to fight anybody. He'd spar with anybody. Because here's the thing is,
one of those.
He wasn't dangerous in the sense that like you couldn't just outskill him, but the dude was just tough. So you'd like walk, bam, and you'd head kick him, and he'd just shake it off and fucking come right at you. And you'd be like, God damn it. It was frustrating because they were dangerous in the sense that they were just hard to finish.
Yeah.
So whereas you'd have to like liver shot him. You couldn't head kick him because he had a thick fucking skull and was tough. And he had a chin like his grip. So what did you do? Shut the body down. Blast that motherfucker in the liver or choke that motherfucker is what you got to do. But there was guys like that. Dodson's one of those guys.
Yeah, he is.
He's dangerous. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't be
fast,
in the UFC.
Very strong.
Fast, strong, skilled.
Athletic.
Hard to finish. Yeah. Impossible to finish. Let's say it that way. He's impossible to finish. No one's finished him yet. So we can say that, guys. Really, it's impossible.
You really can't hit him clean either. Very
because he always moves. Yeah, he's got that elusive movement. That's so I like his chances on Saturday. I really do. A lot of people don't give Dodson credit. I like his chances.
Let him get the W. Maybe one day he'll fight.
I hope so, because that'd be 2 in a row. And that weight class is real shaky right now.
Yeah. Let him get his opportunity. Hey, something I do want to add. I missed this one. This came in from Sean Gibbons. Just at Team Pacquiao and Knucklehead Boxing, we're very happy and pleased. And we always have Mike in our corner with our fighters. Viva Mike. That's from Sean Gibbons, who is the president of Manny Pacquiao Promotions. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Real recognizes
Mike's in a good place, man. Yeah, real recognizes.
And the way Rick is acting, not acting, but in the sense of his character and the way he approaches his job and his life. Yeah. Same way I see Gonzalez Jr., Gabe Sr.
Oh yeah,
the father-son duo, where
yeah.
like the same. I see the same.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, the same approach. Like I see a lot of the same characteristics.
They don't got time to mess around. I don't got time. You either want to do it or you don't, man. And if you don't want to do it, then get out of here because we do.
And those are two prime examples of look at where that approach gets you.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at where it gets you. To say it doesn't work for people is silly at this point.
The fact that he negotiated with Eddie Hearn and came to him with, what did he say, with two ideas?
Two different ideas that Eddie said, let me get back to you on that.
Yeah.
That, I mean, just saying.
Didn't shut it down.
Let me hear a little bit. Okay, let me get back to you on that. That automatically tells you that you have the attention of a man with intelligence in the industry that heard something that sounded like money to him.
And you're not afraid to go up to him and propose your idea.
Because you have confidence that it's a smart fucking idea. And he's a smart man.
And you know, it will work. It is working this Saturday.
Exactly.
Man, that's going to be an awesome card, man.
2 examples.
Yeah, exactly. 2 examples, man. So, any word or what can we talk about this? I'm hearing there's a beast going around, man.
Oh, my boy Blake the Beast McKernan, dude.
That's just waiting for this opportunity, my man, right here. And
so the
guy that he's fighting is the former WBC super middleweight champion of the world, the former WBA light heavyweight champion of the world, now moving up to cruiserweight. I like the fact that Blake hasn't changed anything about himself. He said, I'm ready to go 14-0. He would always say that, and that he's in the right mind frame. I spoke to him briefly last night. He said, "Hey, sorry I got back to you so late, but I've been training, man." And
he's been super training.
He goes, "Do I got to come all the way down here, or what's this here?" Or my man said, "I said, you know what? We'll work it out. We'll put our heads together. I'll get with Cole, and we'll make it happen."
Yeah, our boy's going to be up in Sac, and I don't want to drag him away from camp. I'd rather keep him in an area. Plus, it keeps him in an area where he knows it's consistent right now. I don't want to have fucking Blake driving through fucking Central California, stop at some gas station and get sick.
No, or just coming by here in a fender bender or something. Or some speed bump, and I'm responsible for that.
We'll video him, it'll be cool. But
we'll make that happen.
That was going to go down in September, but that card's been pushed back to November.
Postponed November 28th, on the undercard of Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
And now that's the co-main event for that fight, guys. So like I was telling you guys last week, we had some news to drop. That shit is happening. So like I said, this is going to be an easy millions of views on pay-per-view, guys. This is an opportunity for you to have your brand out there, your merchandise, your brand, your whatever. This is an opportunity for you to do that. This is going to be seen by millions. He's a co-main event. These are real boxing cards. I understand the Tyson-Roy Jones part is an exhibition match, but this is an actual pro card on pay-per-view. This card has been postponed to November, guys, but trust me, it's going to happen.
That's a plus side for Blake, and that's a plus side
for all of them.
And that's a plus side for these sponsors to step up these new brands and get exposure by helping out the beast, man.
Exactly, it's helping them out. It's helping their brand out. I mean, any pay-per-view opportunity right now.
And you need that because you got camp fees, you got training fees, you got your meal prep, you got your prepreration.
It costs money to be a fighter. Yeah, it's expensive.
Especially, this isn't a Mickey Mouse camp. You're going into the biggest fight, the biggest opportunity of your career, and this is a true Rocky story, man.
This is a very huge opportunity, and Blake's very. It's easy to say a fighter is fully aware of the scenario that they're in, but after talking to Blake and stuff, he is fully aware of the scenario, and to the point to where he knows that this is the opportunity. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, here's your last chance. Here's a very golden opportunity for you, man, to do something, and he's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
This isn't a matter of oh, do I do it or not? It's an opportunity, especially in this with the C19 thing going. Like I said, it's a pay-per-view. Any pay-per-view right now, sponsors should be jumping at.
Exactly.
Any pay-per-view, because they're not fucking left and right hand right now.
And I told them hats off to you for accepting the fight, because there's a lot of people, you'd be surprised that they make excuse. Well, I'm not ready. Well, when is it? How much is it? Or what? Bro.
Yeah, I guess a guy like Badu.
You're getting a call. You're fighting a Mayweather fighter, and you're fighting a former two-time two-division champion of the world. And
it's a big boy fight.
Exactly.
It's a big boy fight. You want a big boy fight. Exactly. And that's why Blake jumped at the opportunity, because this is a real big boy fight. This is the kind of thing like
I'm just glad. I'm glad that he has more. He gets a whole training camp now. as opposed to, okay, hey, let's go now. Let's do it now.
Which he was totally down for.
Yeah.
That was, he doesn't care. And this makes the opportunity even better.
Now you can put the game plan in place. Now you can put the guidelines in place. Now you put the whole training camp in, Yeah,
it's all positive. Like, the only hiccup here is that the fans have to wait a little longer to see Tyson again in the ring and Roy Jones again in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's really the only negative to take away from this is that it's going to just take a little longer. We were already going to have to wait till September anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll get to September and just relax. It's going to be like early November. It's coming. Just relax. You'll be happy. You'll be glad you waited.
And the good thing is, see, September 12th, we get to all tune in and watch Kilo the Kid Madera.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's tons of boxing between now and then, maybe.
Yeah.
There's lots of boxing.
That date's not going to waste, man, and we'll be tuned in, man. So you got anything else? So you're going with Daniel, DC.
I'm going with my boy DC.
Stop the 5 rounds, or what are we going with?
I think DC will stop him.
You do?
I think we'll see 3 rounds. I think the fight will probably end near the end of the 3rd, somewhere in the 4th.
Okay.
I don't think we'll get a decision out of that. I don't think either of them want a decision. I think both of them want a decisive fight one way or the other, because this is going to be it. There's not going to be a 4th fight. This is it.
No.
So you want to keep your fucking belt, this is your chance. You want his fucking belt and retire? Yeah. This is it. You said this was going to be this last hurrah. This is your last ride, man. You want to go out on a golden shield. This is your opportunity to do that.
This is it.
Walk off in that sunset with that shiny belt on his fucking shoulder. Watch.
And that's it.
Watch, Rudy, I'm telling you. You guys do it, man.
That's right, Rudy. We've had Rudy on the show before. Rudy's, works takes care of the hands of Daniel Cormier.
He's taking care of the hands of, what was it, 11 UFC championships.
Bro, I see him on video all the time, man.
Oh, dude.
He's there all the time.
He's going to be one of those guys that down the road, people are still still being used that way.
And see, we talked about that word earlier on the show, being professional. That's why you're asked back. Being that person to be that important person in your circle, that's why you're asked back. Because people want to surround themselves with good people, professional and hardworking people.
People
loyalty.
who are invested in the same thing.
Exactly.
They're all invested in the same thing. They're not invested in, like, Rudy doesn't do it so that Rudy can make money and Rudy can improve his name and Rudy can No. Everybody involved, from the sparring partners up to fucking Bob and Javier. Yeah. They all want the same thing. What's best for DC's career? We want to see DC grab that belt. So we all act as if that's all our goal.
And
how do we get him the belt?
It's the way he handles himself too. Because I watch him, and he never tries to get in front of the camera or wave. If you catch him, He's going to smile. He's going to be a professional. But he's there to do a job.
He understands that. Yeah, he understands his position within the team. And it's not one of those know your role things, because the dude's been with the who's who of fighters. So it's more of he understands that right now his position is here. The camera's here on DC. He understands that his position is here. He has a job. He has a role. Now, if DC grabs him and pulls him over here, he'll be in there with a big-ass fucking smile, because he is part of the team and he knows it. He's part of the family.
Well, they have a good time at that gym. I watched a lot of things that go on.
That is not a team.
And I watched that little rival with DC and Khabib.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You see little Khabib. I don't want to say little Khabib. He can come in and kick my ass. He said, like, then what's up then?
Yeah.
He said,
they'll poke each other.
No, he goes, this is my gym. I'm the boss here. Dad goes, no. I'm the boss
I'm here now.
Yeah, I'm here now.
So it's, like I said, that is one of the and there's a couple teams in MMA and sports that I'll look at and go, that's not a team, that's a family. Like, that is a legit family. They look out for each other. They care. I'm talking like all the way back to like the old school days, way back in the days. They've always been that way. Back when like Swick was still there, Fitch, like all those guys.
We just talked to a team today. I mean, we had Mike on the show, and Mike said, hey, any way we can make this happen, let's make it happen. I'm thinking that is a good thing to make happen.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I'm glad we had it within our power. Spoke to KP, made it happen, and we accepted the role, and I think we knocked it out of the park,
No,
man.
that was good times. We got a lot out of them.
Yeah, we did. So I'm going to go with Daniel.
Okay.
I'm going with Daniel only because I'm a true fan of Daniel. I will support Daniel until he's sticking around when he shouldn't stick around. I think he can be effective enough to win the bout, I'll congratulate him when he disappears.
I think that will happen Saturday.
Sunset.
I think either way, this is it.
I would just love for him to win that bout.
That's what I'm saying.
No. Grab the mic and say, John Jones.
See you soon, baby. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if he's
Talk
retired,
to you later.
Jones would be like,
what's he mean?
What?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Like, wait, hold on, what?
I don't know, man. Like I said, I was always one of the first people through the door to say Jones fucking blew his career as far as image and stuff.
Jones badass, bro.
But
I'll
also be the first and enter the door going, well, no, hold on. He's actually making efforts. You know what I mean?
No, he is. I mean, it's just easy to have fun with him right now.
It is. That's what I get too. It's like sometimes like there's a point to where like it's easy to make fun of someone, and at some point you go, you got to look at it.
Can you imagine if like those shows like you got punked and not giving him he just walks through the door and says, "Now what, motherfuckers?"
I'd be like, I stand by every fucking word I say.
Hey, we have a seat for you.
Seats right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show,
right?
John Jones.
Speak your brain.
Here, put the headset on.
I mean, the reality is he's going to whip my ass. I'm not worried about that. Every fighter that I ever talk about, be it positive or negative, above me or anything, majority of them probably kick my ass.
KP's going to hook that up one day.
Dude, I would love to have Jones on there. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Hey, that's our time, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, appreciate you guys. We'll be coming back with some post-fight wrap-up next Tuesday. Next Tuesday's guest is still up in the air right now. I don't want to mention until we get confirmation. Hey, it's always a good time having you guys with us. The Fighter's Voice. I want to thank our guest, Mike Rodriguez. And I want to thank also our trainer, Rick Ramos. I'm from Chicago, man. The trainer in Chicago who follows us and very supportive. And I also want to thank the future champion, and that's Jessica McCaskill. I want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah.
McCaskill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica, I'm going to keep saying it until I get it right, man.
Some names,
well,
you'll remember it after Saturday.
I want to say it the way her mama says it.
You remember it after Saturday.
Oh, I'm going to remember it after Saturday. That's for sure. That's right.
She's going to refuse to accept the first name basis from you. She will demand that you know her name.
Oh, well, did she call me Richard? No, she didn't. No. She goes, "Hey, guys." Which is all good. Hey, that's our time, ladies and gentlemen. And coming right after us is, we got the Miller Brothers. And not the kind that you drink, the kind that you keep back with, have a good time, and you laugh and enjoy their time on their podcast. Make sure you follow them. Make sure you follow Mad Production Studios, and make sure you follow The Fighter's Voice, www.youtube.com/The Fighter's Voice. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. It's a wrap here in Fresno, California.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week.
Remember,
it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.